Welcome to MySchool training. In this video, we'll be looking into creating and grouping learning outcomes. Also how to create your school's assessment report. In MySchool, we have subject specifications, which manage learning outcomes and the content attached to them. This can be located in different menu headers, depending on your default setup. Here, we'll go to grade reports. The configuration of learning outcomes would be restricted to a subject administrator or set to specific custom roles. It would not be available for all teaching staff as default, although teachers attached to their courses would see them in assignments and the student assessment function. Learning outcomes are attached to a subject within MySchool. Either enter the first letters or find using the folder icon. Also, find the learning outcomes by year from the drop-down list. Equally, you can copy learning outcomes from one academic year to another by using the copy function. We will now look into grouping and creating the learning outcome for a test subject. In this example, French. Let's find it using the search subject field. Here I am going to use some external examples to build the learning outcomes and show how we can attach website links as external sources. This feature is useful for teacher support and further understanding. The folder icon to the right creates a subject area, which groups individual learning outcomes together. Enter a title and some context for the teachers. Use a shortcode and give learner instructions if applicable. Add the external source as a URL link for teacher reference. The page icon next to the folder lets us add a learning outcome within the subject area. You can also create learning outcomes outside of the subject area and organize them later, or leave them as is. Fill out the title and the shortcode. The full title appears in certain views, whereas the shortcode appears when assessing from grid mode. Set the assessment period for the learning outcome, either for a year, term or assessment period. Select a scale. These are built within the assignment configuration screen. You can set the scales individually or bulk from the list. Add some context for the teacher. We can now see the learning outcome has been created within the subject area. We now have 2 topic areas and a few more learning outcomes. You can reorder the learning outcomes by highlighting the line and dragging them to another line. You can also apply a scale and an active period to all learning outcomes by using the mass list feature. Next to the plus sign. Open it and apply the assessment period. Once you have created the learning outcomes, you can now build the report card assessment grid. In this example, we already have a test assessment in the list. To create more than one, then just add by pressing the file icon next to the plus. In this case, we can edit by clicking on the pencil. The assessment page needs a title, the only mandatory field. Use the comment boxes to give instructions and guidance internally, and to provide explanations to the guardians or students. Assessment is created in sections. Add a section by clicking on the link. Remove a section with the red cross. Give the assessment a distinctive title, then select what you would like to assess. Grade requires a numerical entry. Averages will be imported from the terms assignment. Text is for comments, and learning outcomes lists the learning outcomes attached to the subject. Add a max scale number in this field. The system will not allow users to assess above this figure. If a weight is required, then this can be entered accordingly. This weight is different from the assignment configuration and weight distribution. Add value provides teachers with assessment options that are not included in the final assessment, excluded or absent being the most common. REQ means required and denotes that an entry is needed in order to complete the student's assessment. In some cases, there may be no comment available, and this can remain optional. Map the section to a field on the assessment grid. Each field can be used only once on the same report card. Grade can be mapped for grade, learning outcomes into effort, and a comment is a text box. These are the default names. Adjust the order that they will appear on the assessment grid by using the arrows next to their name. This will not affect the layout of the report card, which needs to be imported by the MySchool backline team.